good idea.
There's a lot of unidentified photos in the back part of the museum. And possibly those could be scanned. I'm not really ready to jump into that right now. It would be sort of disruptive to open up those cases, pull them out, lay them out and light them and take a picture. It's not quite ready yet, but down the road we could maybe do that. Some of
That's
those
your
are
timeline.
identified. So I've also got a variety of photos that Deb Gajewski sent me. A lot of them, some are religious photos of, confirmations or first communions. A lot of identified photos that Maggie Gajewski had collected. So we got a lot of potential there to generate interest by posting those photos and maybe getting people to share them on Facebook and find out what they might be. Anybody have any comments or questions about how the website's going?
I love it. I wish I had more time to read those Pulaski Heralds, the advertising in there, the businesses back then. It's just phenomenal.
Yeah, it's disappointing that there's no masthead. There's no publisher listed. It's just, here's the Pulaski Herald, even the subscription. It
What,
says
$2 a year it was, isn't it?
Yeah, but it doesn't say who to send it to. It just says Pulaski Herald. So I guess back then, you just put it in an envelope and you put Pulaski Herald on it and a stamp and you took it to the post office and it got there.
Probably.
Does it say who the editors are or
It
anything?
says nothing about who published it, who wrote it, who edited it.
Steve, you're muted. Steve Pep, or not Pep, Karch.
Unmute. There I go. Yeah, it does list an editor. I was wondering about maybe just looking up who the editor was. Maybe there's something on Ancestry or something on newspapers.com on who he was. So just
A lot of
another.
the content that looks like it's maybe from a service because it's national news. They have auto accidents out in New York and it's,
Yeah.
but a lot of the local stuff, like Frank Peplinski just returned from a trip to Kaukauna or, stuff of that nature. Or so-and-so was visiting from Milwaukee.
At one time, there used to be a person that did printing in Pulaski. Name was Brilski. I believe he lived down on Summit Street, right around where John Węgikowski. He had a little printing shop, but he would be too, he wouldn't be that old. He's not that old. That would be those papers that you're talking about, but he did do some printing. And I don't know if it was, he did everything like invitations and graduation stuff.
Yeah, that kind of business is a thing of the past. These days you go online or you print it yourself on your inkjet printer, but
Right.
it used to be a fairly common small business, a little print shop.
Yeah. Okay, next is Tammy. I see Eddie Kraus joined us. Newsletter, no, the website.
You're muted, Tammy.
Thank you.
How can she hear you if you mute her?
I can hear you guys, but you just can't hear me.
Oh,
But now you can hear me. Okay. So I just wanted to give you a little update on here. Google My Business, 419 searches found us on Google. And we had a little spike in April. I'm not totally sure what that was from. Let's see here. Visits to your website. We had about 5 visits. And then photos. Okay, so nothing major here, but I did want to show, I know Roger missed the website thing last time. So I just wanted to make sure everybody knows where to go for Steve's stuff here. You can either hit archive right up here, or you can hit PHS archives right here. And I'm just gonna click on it. And I see Maria must have did the masthead for you. But you click on the Browse the Pulaski Area Society right here. And then I just do the simple search. And Roger, since you weren't here last time, we're just gonna type in Birchkuski. And is Roger still here with us?
Yes, I am, Tammy.
Okay, I didn't see you.
Look, there's a
So
new
you
one.
can see here that these 4 documents have the word Birchkuski in them. So that's interesting that you just uploaded the Herald. And in here, right here, it says Mr. and Mrs. Alex Miller, mother, and Mrs. Ann, is it Antone or
Yep.
Anton? Birchkuski. Motor to Green Bay on business last Wednesday. So if there's any more, how do you do that? Just click on the, or maybe you just one. I know you can check the next instance of it, right?
Yeah,
Steve?
Tammy, there's a, I don't know what happened, but there's a box highlighting it right up. Move your mouse up. There's only one instance in the
Oh.
Pulaski Herald.
Okay,
If you go back to the other search results, then that box on the left,
Oh.
you do this, click on something else. Or go back, do a different content, and then you find,
okay. Well, I'll do the ghost farming. Right? So here's Birchkuski and Bruce Birchkuski. He's now married to Tammy. That's good. So the next instance, is it this one?
no, the
No,
one to the left of that.
this one.
Yeah, there might not be another instance within that document.
Okay, okay. Well, anyways, so Roger, for you not, that's just how it works. You just have to go to the simple search and you can type in whatever you're searching for. If it's Marashek, this will all come up. Anything with the name Marashek in it will be in these documents.
Wow, that's terrific. Thank you, Tammy.
Yep, you're welcome. And so that's all I have. Nothing major. Maybe I'll get more in detail next time just to give you guys a little more detail on the website. But I know that we do get hits from the website because we get emails, and a lot of those emails get forwarded to Steve or whomever I end up forwarding to. And I'm sure Steve will talk about some of the things that that have come up just recently. So, okay, that's all I have.
Okay, next thing is scholarship fund. Pam, are we going to have anybody that we're
Nope.
gonna give?
There are no scholarships this year.
Okay,
There will be next year,
okay.
because the
Quite a few next year, do you believe?
2 for sure.
Okay, well, that's not that bad. Next thing would be a newsletter. Are we working on a newsletter, Tammy?
Well, we are now. I didn't think about it till just now when I saw it on there. So,
One.
Just a friendly reminder,
right? Just being honest too. I've got that written down. So if anybody has anything that they would like to put in the newsletter, please get it to me.
Okay, you might want to email Chris since he
Yeah.
isn't here and say if he's got a story or anybody's got a story. that
Yeah,
they
does anybody have anything right now that they want to make sure that I take care of? Maria?
always got ideas,
Tammy, do
Tammy.
you want me to try and get a picture with Larry Trinkler for the newsletter specifically?
Yeah, that would be really nice. I thought we were I thought we were gonna do that. I don't even know what happened, but
We were, and then he was like, "Yeah, I'll get back to you," and then he
Oh.
never got back to me, and then I
Yeah.
forgot about it.
That would
until
be,
just now, so.
Yeah.
Where did you just hide the check?
oh, it's, Maria's got it yet.
No,
No,
Marie
no, no, no.
deposited it.
It's in the bank. It's in the bank.
It's safe. It's not in my drawer anymore, so I don't have to worry
Oh.
about losing it.
What do they do with those big checks like that? I mean,
Oh, it was a regular check.
oh, okay, you still
Well,
have the
yeah,
big
so
one.
I have the big check that's just like for show.
Like,
And
God,
Noreen got the real check. It's just
Okay.
it's just a little guy. Yeah.
I'm like, what do you mean you don't? Okay. No, that would be good, Maria. That would be awesome. And we could do a little write-up on that.
Yes.
Because I know there's a lot happening at the museum. So maybe we could put together just, a little paragraph on that. And Steve Pep, your project, I mean, definitely, I don't think we've mentioned it in the newsletter. I think that might be a good thing. Anybody else have anything else they want in there?
Nope, I agree, letting people know about the archives.com.
Yep.
I think that's gonna bring us a lot of
Yeah, I'll see if we're writing something up, maybe with some simple instructions, or
Yes.
I don't know, I'll have
Yeah.
to think about how to do it to generate some interest.
That sounds really good.
Tammy, I'd also like to suggest possibly updating the members about our construction that's going to occur hopefully in the near future, just to give them a heads up and
So maybe you guys could give me, or Maria or whoever, give me a little update on, I know you've met a couple of times
Yeah.
on the construction. Maybe somebody could get me a little information on that, just so I know, what to talk about. A little write-up.
Yep. I
Okay.
can do that. That's not a
that-
problem. Just like a paragraph of.
Yep.
update.
And I know we have a lot of things happening, because Steve's gotten a bunch of archives. I got a uniform. He got a uniform. I mean, there's a lot happening. So
I'll
It'll
be
come
getting a
together.
uniform also.
what's that?
Sandy Wilcox, she was going to bring her dad's uniform to the museum, but I couldn't make it there the day she could, so that will be coming as well.
Wow. And what is that uniform?
It was her dad's army. We all agreed we should take it at one of
Yep.
our last 2 meetings ago, I think. I think it's Army, if I'm not
World War II?
mistaken.
Cool.
Pardon?
Was it for the World War II uniform?
Yes.
Okay.
The one I got was from Vietnam. So, and then we got a band one too. So, but I'm not gonna steal your thunder, Steve. That's all I have, you guys. So
All
just
right.
give me your information and I will put together a newsletter.
Okay, Noreen, on the membership dues, are we pretty well closing the books on the membership?
Well, they keep, we're actually doing pretty well. There's only 22 members that have not sent in their dues and 9 businesses. So at this point, that's really well, or really good. We're up to 301 now. So we cracked the 300 mark again. So
On those,
no,
other things, do we send another notice out or what?
I never have.
Okay, all right.
They keep coming. I got one last week and the one the week before. So they keep coming in.
All right.
But we're in good shape there.
Okay, next thing is brick sales. How are we doing on that, Pam?
I think we have about 8 right now.
Okay,
So when we get a couple more, then we'll get them printed. Hopefully they'll get up on that wall this summer.
We've got 19 of them ready to go
Yeah,
to be put up.
Wow.
that's a
Okay.
lot.
I guess you have the floor rock on our next
Okay,
item.
I sent out this notice to all of our board members about this project that we've got going in the back here. But I'm going to renege on one part of it. because of some new information that came up regarding the chinking of that building. Actually, it was Donnie Heiser, who has a lot of experience in this kind of stuff. He asked me what we were going to do when they were done chinking it. And I said, well, we're going to have to somehow cover it up to protect it. And he said, well, maybe you want to look at doing something a little bit different so you don't have to do that as well, because that would be another expense. So we are going to look into another project of insulating it from the outside and putting up some steel. And that would solve the problem of both securing the building and insulating it and not having to worry about painting it or sandblasting and all kinds of other things. So we're going to be looking at that. And that's going to be up the road. So we're going to scratch that part of it. But something that we do need to do, like tonight, is we need to move forward on replacing that door and reestablishing our grade level, which is going to be about 8 inches higher, so that eventually we'll be able to drain the water back into the sewer rather than draining it into our museum. So that's going to incorporate taking out the existing door, removing 2 layers of blocks above it, and establishing a new header, pouring a sloping, I believe it's 7 feet into the museum, a ramp, rather than a step, which would allow for a wheelchair to get in there. And then pouring another sidewalk at the new level so that we can then, in probably the future project, pouring a whole slab for the parking lot. But we're going to do this thing, incrementally, a little bit at a time as we go. So we do have a number of dollars available for us for maintaining the integrity of our building. So the next project that we want to do ASAP is to removing the back door, pouring that slab into the museum, that ramp, and establishing the new grade on the outside with another section of sidewalk. And that will then be where we will start the following project of whenever we can afford to pour a large slab for the parking lot, because that's a big one. That's approximately $9,000 just worth of concrete. But that's up the road. We don't need to do that. This project with the door is going to be probably around 6,000. You turned my paper, so I don't have it now. Where did you go with it?
I messed that up right there.
Okay, yeah, that's going to be with the door, because we are responsible for the door installation of about $3,000. So this project will cost us about $9,700. And this project has nothing to do with what we're doing on the inside. I mean, that project that Maria's heading up, that's a totally different project, and it's not taking any money away from that, because there is enough funding that we have set aside for, actually a couple of years ago, we took money out of one of our established programs and put it into our checking account We've been carrying that right along. But if we don't take care of our building, it's not gonna take care of us. And we probably shouldn't be doing too much inside without protecting it from the outside. So my proposal is that we spend the $9,700, buy the new door, and have the concrete work done so that we can put the door in and give us a new back entrance, at least the start of this whole project, because there's more that we can do. And the next project then will be I'll have to get some bids. And Noreen, I will need the name of the person that did your mom's shed out there, because it looks pretty nice.
Yep.
And we'll try that. And then I'll try to reconvene our group, and we'll get some other prices so we can have some competing bids to insulate and put some steel on the outside of our building. And that would be our next one. But for now, I need the go-ahead so I can contact our contractor, which, by the way, took me 3 years to get. Because there's nobody else that ever wanted to do the job, but he's local. And we need to get going on this ASAP.
So Rock, I just have a quick question. I got these drawings here. I don't know if you guys can see this or not. So originally you talked about tuck pointing in your thing, but now maybe there's other options. Is that
Right.
what you're saying? Okay, that
That's what I'm
sounds good.
saying.
So you're just checking into that. I think that's a good idea to check into other options.
Right.
And is it just on that one wall? At
Well,
this
no,
point?
there's it's both the west wall and the
Okay.
north wall are
Okay.
bad.
Okay, I think, well, I mean, I don't know if there's any discussion, but I certainly would make a motion that we begin the process so we can get this going. You've got the contracts and everything from this guy as
I
far
got
as.
the bid. Yep.
So, because I mean, I'm hearing from all different kinds of construction people, prices are going up. So I would be scared that if we didn't start it, you know, and we might run into issues where maybe there's going to be a price increase or something. So I just be aware that, you know, that could happen. It's really crazy out there right now. But I make a motion that we go ahead and get the show on the road with this. You know, unless somebody's got some other discussion, but that's my motion is on the table.
One more question for Rock. The contractor is able to guarantee us that it would get done before winter sets in?
Right. Well, hopefully I can't go ahead until I get the okay from you people.
Okay,
I'm gonna call them tomorrow and say, we're good to go. When can you do it? And it better be sooner than later. 'Cause I've been waiting 2.5 years with this contractor. But he
Hopefully you
was-
get dibs on it.
Right.
'Cause
Well,
it's definitely crazy out there right now.
You've checked
I
into the
second Tammy's
application?
motion.
yeah.
Okay, did I hear a second on that?
Yes, Noreen seconded that.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Motion carried. Now, I'm going to comment here. We're going to allot 9,700 for a project which is approved. And also, in that tuck pointing, you had a high figure of 13,550. And I guess we have to stand with that 13,550. I don't know if getting an estimate for putting down the tin and insulating will be more or not. We won't know till we do that, till we get those estimates. But we do have that CD that's due in May 15th. Am I correct, Noreen?
May 12th, yes.
Okay, that's for around 12.5.
12,928.
Okay, and the question I'm going to ask you, if I took the 97 and the 13.5, that would come out to 22, 23, 2, roughly, 23,200. Somebody got a calculator?
roughly.
23,250. Okay.
All right.
Now, with what money we have in the coffers, I guess what I'm saying is, should we renew, can we renew that CD, or do we need that to do this projects, the metal and the door?
Okay, well, if you look at the balance sheet on the treasurer's report, right now we have money set aside for museum improvement of 34,440.
Okay,
So
you
we
put
would
it-
not need that.
okay. And if we did run over with that 13,550, we have enough because we're from 23,250 to 34,000. You
Right.
have that balance, okay. Then I guess I would, if anybody on the board has any questions, I guess I would need a motion whether we should renew that CD for 12.5 that's coming up in May. Because as the projects are, we probably won't need that. We have a cushion of around 8,000. Is that what they say, 23 from 34?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, we also have to know that Maria has 10,000 from MCL, but I don't think she's going to get that project down. So we will probably have to contribute some money towards her project. And I know Rock and I talked, and I suggested that we would put 6,000 into that project, giving her a total of 16,000. And we're gonna find a little bit more on how she's doing later on in the agenda. But I just want people to know that we do have the money, but we do have to use it efficiently so that we don't get behind the 8 ball and then we start projects and we can't do them. So I guess, anybody have questions?
Larry, I'll ask you, go ahead, I'm sorry.
Why don't we cash it in and just hold it until we come to a final decision with Maria's project?
Okay, so you don't want to renew the CD?
Not at this time. I would just hold it in the bank,
Okay,
savings account or whatever.
all right. Anybody?
Okay, and in regards to that, Ed and Larry, if you would renew the CD and then you would need it, you would just lose a little bit of interest, correct?
Well, right, and Noreen can find out for that. I had discussed with Larry a few years ago when we were gonna put a 5-year in, and I found out what we're really gonna pay, and it was hardly nothing because we were withdrawing it before the maturity. And, you know, they're not paying us a lot of interest, so they can't
Right.
charge us more than what we would lose is the interest. And what would that interest be at this time?
Well, the last one we just renewed, it was 0.25.
Okay,
Oh,
take
eh.
0.25 times that 13,000 for what, a year? Is it 1 year? Or is it-
It is a 9-month, I believe.
Hmm.
Nope, I'm sorry, it is a 1 year, yes.
So what would that be? How much? 100
$32.
bucks? How much?
About $32.
Yeah, so what do you think, Chris, we should do with that if we don't
I
need it?
I just would leave it as cash. I mean, it's hardly
Okay.
worth tying up.
Okay, so we won't renew that
Okay.
CD. And we'll just put it in the coffers. Now,
All right.
this totaling that you're giving us for improvement, did that include the 10,000?
Yes, it does.
Okay, so we have to pull that out of that 34 then.
Right.
Does that being a different story to what I've been telling you then, right?
Oh, well, yeah, the 34,000 was for, all the money we have set aside right now for museum improvement, but that does include the 10,000 that Maria got.
So we should really take that 10 out. And it's really 24,000 we have, which is pretty close to what my total of the 97 and the high point of the tuck pointing, which we would use as a basis for the metal work. Am I right? Am I confusing people?
Right.
That's 97. Okay. 23,250. That would allow us to do the $9,700 for the door and that concrete work in the back for the sidewalk, and figuring 13,550 an allowance for putting the metal on the building. So that would be 23,250. So you're going to get 12 because you're going to not renew the CD, but you have 10,000 out of that amount that's set aside for the interior of the building.
Correct.
So it looks like we're okay then.
Yes.
Anybody have any questions or want to add to it? I just want everybody to know, I'll be aware, we do have the money, but we have to spend it in a way that gives us the best for our buck. Anybody disagree with me or agree with me? Any comments?
No, I agree. I mean, if we're gonna fix up the inside, we want to make sure the water stays out. And I walked around, you can actually see the holes in those blocks
Yeah.
on that wall. So
And I want to have enough money to help Maria do the project too, not that it's a start of a project. 'Cause
Right.
if we're gonna do that, we have to do it in a way that it looks decent. And Maria will give us some information later on the agenda. So,
All
okay, so you just cash in the CD and
Okay.
put it in the coffers. Okay.
all right.
Are there any other comments with old business or any questions on what we discussed?
Yes.
Larry, I have one.
Yeah,
With that steel on the insulation on the back, how about contacting the Amish in Mondawell for a price?
I guess Rock has got a lead. I think
Okay.
from when they mentioned people from Bondwell that did the work at Noreen's mother, I think they were from Amish, and that's who we're going to check. Rock has the name of the guy that did the insulating is Amish, and he will contact him, and he's probably got some contractors. We're going to look for a decent job and at a favorable rate. The thing is getting these guys to do the work. I mean, that's a problem is, if they're not going to come, if they figure they ain't going to be able to do it for 2 years, there's nobody going to give us the price. And we're lucky with Mr. Blazer. And I'll tell you, it's got to be 2.5 years since we talked to him. Am I right, Rock?
That's correct.
Yeah. So, I'm sure Rock's going to look at all avenues on it, and hopefully he'll have something for us for the next meeting. We still
Okay.
have to do that. Yeah, we'll have to do that. But we have the money to do it, so I just wanted, that's why I was relating the cost of what the tuck pointing is, and that kind of gives us a budget for the steel. I have no idea what's going to be more, the steel or tuck pointing. But even with tuck pointing, we still have to paint it. I mean,
Yeah.
that's part of the bid too, so. All right, we'll go on to new business. I just put in their summer hours, Pam and Rock.
I haven't made a decision on that for sure. And I
Yeah.
want to talk to the two boys that are students.
Yeah.
But I hope that we can be open during polka days, but it depends on how much work we're doing. You know, if we've really got the museum all messed up, we may not be able to be open. But at any rate, and I haven't talked to Steve Kaplinski about this, but I would like him to leave up his family wall, you know, unless we start renovating through polka days, because it was missed last year. Pam Marinaka is next up, but I think we're gonna put that on hold until, you know, we get done with all this stuff now.
When the project starts inside, there's a good chance that there could be times that we would be closed completely.
Yeah, I'm thinking there will be,
There will be, it's
Yeah.
no doubt.
for sure.
And,
So it's just kind of a wait and see.
right. Okay, I guess the next thing, Maria?
All right, so I think I'm going to share my screen
Okay.
so you guys can kind of see. All right, can you see it? Right now I got the agenda up.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. All right, so when we met with our committee, we talked about the display cases. So I thought I'd show you guys what I found. So this one is from like, they make like display cases for museums. So this one, it's just silver and black with glass shelving on the inside. 72 inches high, 20 inches deep, and 70 inches wide. So I figure if we get two, I would think that would be enough, but I guess it's whatever you guys think. We could always get more too. And then they also come with locks. I know when I mentioned this to Steve Karshi, said he was like, I don't really know if we'd need locks, but like the locks are like $4 or something like that. So, and we would just put them on.
Be replacing some of the glass cases we have there.
Yeah, so we would take out what we have. I don't know if we'd want to sell them, try and make a little bit of money off of them, or if we just want to donate them somewhere, but that these would replace those. So we'd have these instead of what we have. So you don't have to, you can put them right up against the wall. They open from the front. So you wouldn't have to go behind and try and adjust the displays that way. It would be a lot easier.
Better to go up than out.
Yeah.
They look very nice.
Yeah, I mean, they have I was looking at reading some of these reviews and stuff, and what is that?
Oh, yeah.
44,000 reviews.
Got 5 stars.
And they have a really good rate. So, so yeah, this is what I was kind of thinking for that. When we met, we also talked about doing the carpet instead of the laminate wood flooring, just because, like if there's cracks in the concrete and unevenness and things like that. So I pulled up a couple different options. I just looked up at Menards. So here's like a gray.
I love
This
it.
is approximately the price, based on the square footage.
$300.
Here's basically the same one for darker, and then just like a striped for
I like it.
2,409. And if we did this, we'd probably just lay it ourselves. So I have those options. Oh yes, we also talked about the movable walls. This is a picture from St. Norbert. This was like, I don't know, they put this on their social media account or whatever. So it kind of gives you an idea of what they have. So these are probably, I don't know, maybe a foot like depth wise. And they're probably like 7 feet tall or something like that. But Larry drew up some plans that I think will be just fine, and we can just put, I would just think plywood on them if we need to. And then just, I can cover them in plaster. So, got that.
Maria, did you think about, I see they have lighting in that picture.
Yep.
Are we gonna need additional lighting, or is there some type of lighting that you could use with these walls?
Yeah, so Larry had a really great idea of putting some lighting maybe up at the top of the movable walls so that they, you know, they could shine on whatever we're displaying inside of them. So I thought that was a really good idea. So
Cordless or like,
I don't know, Larry, what we
Well,
talked about like
'cause they,
recessed
I mean, they
lighting?
have, you know, lots of different lighting options.
Yeah,
we really didn't finalize that, but I would say with, somehow there's gonna be some outlets. Either we'll have to put some in them walls and be able to plug them into an exterior wall, which the plugs we have. And then if you have an outlet, well, of course, you got a place to plug in your lighting or whatever you have. But I guess we really didn't trim it down. I know we wouldn't probably be purchasing any of those floodlights like they're showing in that picture. We do have a chunk that came from the school. We could utilize that. And actually what it is the lighting to accent what you're displaying. And
Right.
so it wouldn't be every place, you know, even if we did put up a chunk of track lighting in an area and said, well, that's gonna be the movable display. We'll always take stuff out of that area and put in our display that we're gonna feature into that area. In other words, rather than have it running all around, because we're not gonna move, once the cases are placed, you're not gonna move those cases, those will be permanent. You'll have other floor space that you'll dedicate for your displays. And, you know, you could have 4 or 5 at one time going, you know, different
Mhm.
rotating
Yep.
features, I guess.
Yep. Yeah, so I mean, if we did lighting, I don't think we would do like what they have right here, which is like on their ceiling all the time. We might add some lighting to maybe the movable walls, maybe not all of them, maybe just a couple of them or whatever. So the fine details of the movable walls haven't been ironed out yet. I think the biggest thing is if we do end up doing the carpet tiles, we just decided we're going to do this like ourselves, which is completely fine. But I wanted to explore seeing if it is how much it would cost to do like something like what was his name? Brad Santee. So I have him. He's gonna come meet me at the museum May 26th at 5. That was the soonest he could come, so I have that. I'm still waiting on Baron Construction. These are all local. Steve Fisher, he was on vacation, so I just contacted him like last week. So
He's back.
Yep, he's back. So he's gonna set up a time with me to come. And then this Clutch Construction is my cousin who is insured under Steve Fisher Construction. So I guess I just want to see what he prices out at too. So these are like the bids that I'm going for just to see. And then I kind of started pricing out if we bought the lumber and everything and for the movable walls, what they would cost. Currently it's about $100 per movable wall. But if we are gonna do the demo and taking out the walls and using the 2x4s or whatever they have in the walls right now for repurposing to make the movable walls, that'll cut the cost quite a bit. So that's what I got so far.
Good work, Maria.
Thank you.
Just a quick question for you, Maria. Where did you find the costing for your casters?
Menards.
Okay.
I'm just looking at Menards.
All right.
Do you have any other ideas?
No, I was thinking maybe McMaster-Carr or Granger.
Okay.
They normally do larger industrial type. which is gonna probably last longer, but you might pay a little bit more for it.
Okay. Yeah, I'll look into them. Yeah, I just was like, well, I'll see what,
Yeah, you
Wonder
don't
if-
want to go cheap on that because
Yeah.
they don't last and they don't roll very good. You got to have good ones.
all right.
So don't skimp on that.
All right, I'll
Yeah,
look
we
into
don't want to
those.
be replacing them in however many, 2 years.
Yeah, yeah. All right. Yeah, I'll look into it. Thank you.
Hmm?
Anybody got questions for Maria?
So I know that we had discussed this amongst our group, but maybe we should explain to the group about what Mr. Santee is going to look at doing as far as a flooring option. So it's not the
Oh.
carpet and it's not the hardwood flooring, but it's a different route.
Yeah, so it's like an epoxy, like what they do to like basement floors and stuff like that, like adding a nice finish. Instead of doing the laminate wood floor or the carpet. But in order to do that, I think we decided we need to get him to come in and see if it would actually look nice because the floor isn't square, it's uneven. I think there's some cracks in the concrete, isn't there? We pulled up like part of the carpet and there was a crack right there. So we gotta,
And there's glue underneath.
Yeah,
so
yep, and
pretty
there's
much
glue
that
underneath.
underneath would have to come out too. So the idea to go with the carpeting is probably the best option.
mhm,
We would just have to, Maria brought up a great point during our meeting, we would have to have extra tiles in case something went bad. And in 2 years, they discontinued that carpet. At least we would have spares to put down. Maybe in high traffic areas, we're gonna have that issue. And Tammy's dad had actually brought up doing some sort of hard flooring at the entrance where people come in now.
mhm.
So
That's
if
the
that's gonna be a high
heaviest
traffic
use.
area, maybe that needs a hard surface, which
Mhm,
we could probably accommodate as opposed to doing the whole thing.
yeah.
Yeah, I have a question for Larry and Rock, and this is in regards to the floor also. Wouldn't, if we would go with Mr. Santee, wouldn't he be able to take that unevenness out? Wouldn't that be a better fix for that, getting that floor evened out versus using the carpet or any other form? Or,
Well, Roger, right now, we know the floor is uneven. You can come in through the back door. There is a hump there.
yeah,
You would have to latex that out to put any other type. Right now, there's carpet on it and it's working. So if we were to put the carpet tile, and the only reason we would be putting what they call carpet tile, and if you look at a lot of hospitals, I've used them in the lobby in the post offices 20 years ago. And what it is if you do have any areas that really show wear, you can pull them tile up and put another one in its place. And I think we can find people that will volunteer to put that carpet tile down. It's not that hard, where if we get a contractor and they buy the material, and she showed figures of 2,500 and I think as much as 5,500 for some type of tile, you would have to add labor on that, which a contractor, if it was goods like 6 foot wide or 12 foot wide, we'd have labor involved in that. Where we're figuring we can buy the tile and put it down ourselves, and our labor would be volunteer.
yeah, Larry, I realized that, and you mentioned that at our last meeting. But I'm concerned about the unevenness of the floor. Do we want to get rid of that, or will that still, will we notice it after we put down the carpeting
I
or
don't
tiles?
think much more than what now, because the carpet that's on there is probably about 3/16 thick. That's on there right now. And there's only two areas that I've noticed unevenness, and it's just right by the back door is one. And I don't think putting a carpet down again, even though it's in T-style, would affect that. But I'm afraid if we did put some type of a laminate, that might be a little harder to
Yeah,
get rid of that that unevenness of that, you know.
You
Now-
know, I gotta, Roger, I understand what you're saying, but I bet you it's gonna be a lot more work and a lot more costly to straighten that out, because when my brother-in-law lays tile, I mean, he's gotta lay this leavening like agent out to level everything.
right.
And I'm, is it worth that? I don't know, unless the wall's gonna fall down, that Maria's putting up these, display walls, if it's not gonna be level for that. But, I bet you that's would cost a lot more to try and fix that. But I mean, I'm sure when you see Brad, when you talk to Brad Santee, Maria, I'm
Mhm.
sure he'll tell you. He does some
Yeah,
awesome,
exactly.
he does some awesome work, and it's beautiful. And we had him do it, for us. And I've had people put it in their garage, and he does awesome work. And
Mhm.
it would be really cool to have, but I have a feeling that might be a lot more costly than, you're doing it the right way, you're leveling everything, but
Mhm.
is it worth it?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah,
Well,
I guess
good.
I just, for my sake, I just want to see what it would cost.
Mhm.
And I mean, probably in the end, we're gonna be like, okay, yeah, the carpet tile is the best route right now.
Wrong to explore any avenues,
Right.
that we did.
Yeah.
Even if you want to, well, you do have a price someone gave you to put laminate flooring down. That was what, $6,000?
That was 12 to 14.
Yes.
Plus, you never know what you're gonna see when you pick up that carpet. You probably are not even gonna believe what you're
Right.
looking at.
Yeah.
I got a feeling it was a barn at one time, and it's rougher than a cob. Now, I noticed you had a smaller size of carpet. They make that carpet tile in a 2-foot square.
Is it small?
So that's another thing to consider. But you're doing all right on this. I gotta
Yeah.
give you credit. You'll explore everything we have. Anybody else have any other questions or input? Mike, how about Mike?
Oh, it all looks pretty good to me. I'm kind of learning as we go here.
Oh. Okay. Now, if we can do some of the work ourselves, this is another thing that we have to look into consideration. If we do some of the work ourselves, well, then we can dictate what areas we would do, and then we can move some of the stuff to one side of the museum and then work one side, like even if we were putting carpet tile, and get that area and then move the stuff back. Because it's a job to move all that stuff out of there, even if
Shit.
you can't bring that stuff upstairs. Who's gonna haul that piano upstairs? Who's gonna
Oh,
big stove?
Steve's gonna do it all.
Yeah.
Oh,
He
Steve
told
Holmes.
me
Right.
He told me
he
he's
likes
going a year
moving.
up for 2 years. He's not
Oh,
gonna be
Steve's-
around. No, but you understand, where are we gonna go with that? I got that piano, that buggy.
Yeah.
We almost gotta work with it around, and a contractor that comes in there, they're gonna say, boy, I gotta get double time. You guys, I gotta work around this stuff, see?
Well, and again, we did mention a trailer also.
Oh,
Right.
yes, we did.
I did mention we could probably get a trailer and put some of that right on site. Leave the trailer right there.
Be a lot easier to go on one half and then move it to the other side.
Right. It's just a matter of planning what you want it to look like when you're done, and you do them areas to get it done, your painting and stuff. as far as the ceiling, we discussed that. It's just a matter of changing some of the tile. We don't have to redo the whole ceiling.
Just let me know when you have the painting party. That's probably the only thing I know how to do.
Oh, that's good, because it'll be me.
Okay.
I'll bring the
Swing it.
cookies.
You could swing a
Pam
sledgehammer.
will supervise.
Yeah, I'll bring cookies for you guys. I'm not supervising.
I'm
I'll
good with
wash
that.
up the rollers and the paintbrushes.
Okay, Roger, you're on.
All right.
I'm gonna remember this. I remember everything, so. You say,
That's good, 'cause I don't
Pam
remember
said
anything.
cookies.
We're
I want
recording.
cookies, that's for
All right.
sure.
I can do
Okay.
it.
The next thing I have, do we have a speaker for the virtual dinner? That we thought about somebody, or I guess I'm asking Tammy and Steve, I guess you guys kind of talked about what you might do for that dinner. Am I correct?
Yeah,
You got plans, I know you guys do.
well, we got some secret plans in the works right now.
We do.
So secret that, I mean, I would have to
Well-
shoot you if I tell you what they are.
Yeah,
No, you know, we've got, basically, I'm thinking that we're gonna be showing a couple secret videos that we're working on right now.
mhm.
Ooh.
I don't know if we will, if we
Just
need
speaker.
a
Okay.
speaker at this point. I mean, do we have a speaker last year, you guys?
No,
No,
No.
we didn't.
So, and we don't want it to be too long, you know, that's one of the things you know, with these all these virtual events that you have, people don't have, okay,
Patience.
I don't have the patience, you know what I'm saying?
Mm.
So, and if I don't have the patience, other people, you know, they're not gonna wanna sit there for 2 hours. So an hour would be way plenty. And if we do, you know, a video here or 2 videos or whatever it is, I think it's gonna be fine. We got the preservation award. You know, last year we did the board of directors, and we certainly could do a little thing on the board of directors again, or the new board members.
Mhm.
That maybe the new board members.
Yeah.
Then it wouldn't be so many people, but
I think-
anyways,
I think
Okay.
Stevie's report from
yes.
his standpoint should be as good as having a virtual
speaker.
guest.
Yeah. That's
Yep.
good.
And then, you know, Maria, everything that you do, you know, when you guys start maybe make sure you take pictures, because we could show the renovation project. You know, that I think in itself, that could be a quick video, you know?
Yeah, for sure.
And you've got a video of the way the museum was.
Yeah,
months ago.
before.
So it's a before. You could even show a video because people like to look at that stuff.
Even
Yeah.
a time lapse would be really
Yeah.
cool. So you could, you know, set a camera in, you know, a certain spot the whole time. And we could do a time lapse thing. That would be kind of cool.
Yeah, just like a bunch of them every time we work on it and stuff.
Yeah. So we definitely, Steve's got some really cool, you know, things that, like I said, it's secret, so we can't really tell you guys what it is, but I'm sure he'll explain what's going on next. But don't worry, it's all under control.
Right. I believe that.
Yeah.
I believe
I
the
know.
secrecy part.
The next thing I have is that in-house museum display, and of course you answered that you'd like to keep the Poplinsky one up if we have to keep the place open through Polka Days unless we're doing remodeling. So there wouldn't be a display then, just
No.
staying with what we have.
Yes.
Okay. So the next thing we have is the curator's report.
Okay, so lots of things are happening, as Tammy said. I'm just going to start with the beginning of the things. We actually got an interesting artifact. Larry brought, or they sent it to Larry first. It was from the library. It is the Articles of Incorporation for J.J. Hoff's Land Company from 1888. And so it's a large document, probably 12 by 18, and it's signed by the Secretary of State, I believe, of Wisconsin of that year. and it lists how much money they paid and certified the whole thing. But it's a nice little document that was sitting in the library, and they found it and passed it off to us. So that I think is a good thing. All right, so Larry, I don't know if you could brief people on the first band uniform we have and the grant.
Okay, I just voted to have Pulaski get the grant. We're running as number one. And number two is Heritage. They don't have as much money this year because they didn't have a show. But I was on the committee and I had to step away as to having, voting for Pulaski. But as a member now, after the grant committee has approved them and placed them in standing, I can vote for them. So there's only two of them that'll be getting grants, and Pulaski is one of them. I don't know if they are going to contact you. Right now, they're having the membership vote via email if they want to give money to the two, Heritage and Pulaski Historical.
Okay, so the uniform itself, it's interesting, the uniform has been in existence for over 100 years. We have not seen that uniform in, well, probably 18 months ago. That came from the tavern in Huffa Park, and it includes a jacket, a pants, a helmet, a sword, a bandolier, a belt, all probably made for a teenager, likely for a band. Again, I posted pictures of the uniform on Facebook. Very proud of that contribution. Well, again, in 100 years, we haven't seen one. Well, now we have two. So last week, a member of the Borowski family, her name is Carol Kalari. Her great-grandfather was Joseph Borowski, and she gave us a full uniform set, almost, without the sword and without the bandolier, but hers actually has a band cap. And the band cap actually has a label maker, the label maker's mark in it, and Joseph's name in the headband. And the company that made the uniform is actually out of Philadelphia. And I found a letterhead for the company from 1911. So I'm putting in the books that the uniforms probably came from 1911. The jacket isn't as good of condition as the one that we had previously, but the pants are better. So maybe we kind of mix and match. But right now, the grant is going for the uniform that we have advertised to the Antiquarian Society. So that'll be the first priority. But we have two really nice helmets now and some other really good things. So again, Tammy brought me a uniform last week. And Tammy, that was Mr. Trojans.
You're on mute.
So the uniform that I brought you, I received it from Donnie Trojan, Elaine Trojan is Donnie's wife. Okay, he was the cop in town. Well, Ed, you know who that is, right?
Yeah.
So Elaine was a Rudolph, as I understand it, and it belonged to her brother who was in the Vietnam War. So I had a little write-up that I put on the Ascension record there, but he died. Oh my gosh, was it 2008? I can't remember what she said. He died, but they believe it was, he had a tumor somewhere, cancer, and they believed it was from Agent Orange. So it is, and I didn't look, it looked like it was in pretty good condition, but it was an Army uniform, I do believe. And it was her brother's, and he has passed. So it is, and they did have ties. They actually came here when she was 4 and her brother was 5. He graduated from Pulaski High School.
So that was the second uniform. The third thing that we got was actually an email from the Reverend Dr. Scott Say. He is the head of the Christian Theological Seminary in Indianapolis. And like all museums or libraries, archives, they're clearing out their collection of things that don't have anything related to them. And one of the things that they had was a 10-volume bound set of Chronicles called The Chronicles of the Assumption of the Blessed Virgin Mary. It is a 10-volume bound set from 1943 to 1962. They received it from the Franciscan Education Center in Lake Geneva, Wisconsin. But this chronicle is like a collection of newsletters that were put out by the parish, and they contain little snippets of day-to-day activities from Pulaski and the surrounding communities. They offered those to us and said they would ship them free of charge. So I gladly accepted them into the collection. The Dr. Reverend, Mr. Say said it would have pained him to have thrown them away or recycled them. And I agree with him so much. So I'll be sending him a thank you card for such a generous gift to us. All right, so the other thing that I'm working on is the shrines. So I've had like 3 requests on history of the roadside shrines surrounding Pulaski. So I've done quite a bit of work looking into things. I actually found a postcard from 1908 showing the shrine that's located south of Crest Street, actually on St. Augustine. It's at 1951 St. Augustine Street. It's on a farmer's front yard. And so that one dates back to 1900, I believe, or 1901. But the picture is 1908, and it was the Baranowski family that actually lived on that property. And so I had a conversation last night with Damon Shemansky about the origins and what he remembered of the shrine and everything else. So he gave me some wonderful stories. He did tell me that at one time the shrine was leaning really badly, and that himself, let's see here, Roger Van Lannen, Damon, Shoe Construction, and Mike Blahoviak actually did some restoration work on the shrine to level it. Damon was also very gracious to add that if there needs to be any repair work done to that shrine, he thinks he can get a couple individuals involved that could help pay for some of the work to be done. Again, I thought that was a wonderful offer from him. He also told me that the shrine that, the one by Reister and Snow, that was, I believe, Claudia, I don't know if you could correct me on this, but that was a Rechkowski originally. And so, but that shrine.
Yes,
was
that's
actually-
correct. The William Rechkowski family built it and donated the land to the Diocese of Green Bay. And then when they widened the road, they had to donate more land.
Oh, boy.
And when they fixed the shrine up, well, that was probably, I don't know, 15, 20 years ago, when they fixed it up, it got, right after they finished, it got hit by a car. And so they had to redo a lot of it again, but so far so good. I'm trying to think, I think it's Shapansky's that are taking care of it.
Okay.
And they just redrew when I checked on it last, probably only like 4 years ago, they had to redraw where the land ends and begins because they had the shrine sitting in the middle of the highway yet. So the O'Connell County has the all the drawings of it. I have quite a bit of information on it if you want any of it, Stephen. There should be some in the Rechkowski file.
Okay.
At the museum.
Thank you. I'm going to have to look into that.
I'll just add that when that car hit that shrine, like I think it was 20 years ago, there was no, I mean, it wasn't like it just got chipped or something. It was like somebody blew it up with a bomb. I mean, it was totally rebuilt.
Oh boy.
There was a pile of bricks
Okay.
laying on the ground.
Like I said, I'm going to look into that one. And from what I understand, the shrine that's off Crescent St. Augustine Street was built in 1986 or 87. That's the newest shrine, and that was built to commemorate the 100 years of the parish. Anybody remember more or could add to that? I did find information in the church, the white, not the Diamond Jubilee, but the 1987 church book. And so.
Have you talked to Dave Kubiak about that? Because he
No,
cuts
I
the
have
grass
not.
around it all the time, and it's on their, attached to their property, so
Yeah.
he might know something.
He was the next one to talk to, because the church book actually has pictures of the procession of the kids. Father Regis was involved with, I guess, working on having that shrine built. So like I said, I'm still looking into that one, but it's turning into an interesting story about the history of those shrines and how they're connected. Damon told me a really good story about how there'd be farmers that would live out towards Laney, and in the winter, the roads would be clogged. So they couldn't take their horses or buggies, so they would walk to church. So they would walk from Laney down Crest, and they would come near to the shrines, and everyone would take their caps off and they'd pray. And eventually, you'd get like a line of people that would come out their houses and they'd join the procession. So, and then they would do the same thing. They would leave St. Mary's, the church name at the time, and they'd go down to St. Augustine, hit Crest, and again, they'd say their prayers as they went home. And so it was a wonderful little story, but something I hope that I can share. Anyhow, so that's that. Now we also received from the Borowski descendant, and Tammy had posted a picture of it on Facebook. It was an inhaler that came with the original box, and the box has patent dates from like the 1890s. And one of the respondents on Facebook said it killed more people than it actually saved. So we actually have this article with us, and again, it was supposed to be for whooping cough, diphtheria, emphysema, all these other things. You lit it, and you were supposed to breathe in this gas. And one of the fluids they used for lighting was kerosene. That's what was the recommended thing. So anyway, that was fascinating. The biggest thing that, she gave us also some photos, some great photos of Borowski's grain mill, the granary. But the big thing that I'm going to show you, which I have with me, is this. You probably all can't see it very well, what this is, but then I'll show you this. So maybe you can make out part of it on the screen. So what this article is, it is a copper plate that was used for engraving like a Bible or a holy book. And the story behind it was that there was an engraver that was living in Poland at the end of the 18th century, probably 1880. And he had to leave his home, and he had a family and children. So he took this plate. This is only a quarter of the full plate, but he ended up cutting the plate down in 4 pieces, and he gave one to each of his children. So the Baranowskis came to Detroit in 1890. That's where they were living before they came to Pulaski. And the son of the engraver said, I'm going to come home, just save the plates, I'll be home. Well, he never came back. The father never came home. So the children then kept the plates, and the son actually came to the United States and befriended the Borowski family, and they were very kind to him, and he actually ended up giving them this plate. So the plate, we know dates, I'm saying before 1880, but the plate may actually date to the 16th century. So I'm trying to get that confirmed with the Neville right now. I've sent them detailed photos. Again, one of the things that they mentioned about these plates, you had the illustrated page, which was one plate, and then you had all the text and the writing as another page. And that's one of the reasons why I'm thinking it's much older than 1880. But it would be the oldest thing in our collection if it is from, say, 1540, which is when they started using copper plates to do this in Europe. So that's the big thing. So
It's cool.
and obviously me and Tammy are working on other secret plans. Oh, I should mention about the shrine, one other thing. I would like to recommend the family that's living on that farm on 1951, that they be given the preservation award. I know they haven't done much, but they're upkeeping the shrine, and obviously it's the oldest one, and I think that would be a good gesture. Tammy and I are probably going to go out and do a video clip of one of our little excursions like we did for the Kashmir Pulaski Week. And so, and kind of build that into a story.
That sounds great to me.
Yeah.
Yep,
I
our
like it.
work is done, Chris.
You
Yeah.
and Tammy sound like you're like the local news, but for the Pulaski Area Historical Society.
Yes,
And
we
all
are.
their little secrets.
Especially the secret ones.
All them secrets. Are there any other comments by anybody
I
or?
have a comment. Maybe
Yeah.
Ed Kraus remembers, it seems to me that back when I was running the hardware store, Ed, your sister-in-law Wendy was engaged to paint or to do some restoration work on that shrine. Do you remember anything about that?
Very little, but I can probably get in touch with her if you want.
It might be an interesting addition to the research that Steve is doing.
Yeah.
I have a question kind of on that note. Do you guys remember this was, I don't even know, over a year ago? I think a lady was asking about, she wanted to renovate some part of Classics. She bought the building or something like that, or the part above it.
She has the whole thing. Because
The
my
whole
sister,
thing?
yeah, my sister actually rents from her. Because my
Okay.
sister's is opening up her bakery across from the library. So
Okay.
that green building there on the corner, that's hers, and Classics is also hers.
Okay. Is she planning to do anything with Classics? Do you know?
I don't know. The things I hear are like lots of not the most healthiest. So I don't want to speculate.
Okay. Okay.
So
I was just
I'm
curious.
hoping she does do something with it.
Okay. Yeah, that would be awesome.
Okay, Claudia, can you speak to me?
Yes, I can speak to you. What do you want?
Okay, I seen an email that you wanted to be on the agenda. I put the agendas together. Do you have a headline on what you want to talk about? Or do you want to talk?
Yes, I would like, yes, I'm going to ask if we can rescind the minutes for August of 2018. That was the one thing I want to do for the agenda. And then the other thing is the Heritage Award from 1992 will probably be done by the next meeting. And so maybe I'll even have it framed by that time, depending on when I get it back.
So is that my question is, what are we rescinding from the meeting?
We need to rescind the minutes for August of 2018. I didn't resign. I was giving up my position because my position was going to be done in October, or like I was told in November. So Larry told me I need to come to a meeting and rescind the minutes for 2018. Because I came to the meeting in 2019 as a board member. And so I wouldn't have been able to speak at that meeting if I had resigned. And I don't really know where that rule came from, that if a person resigns from a board, I don't know if I didn't know we had a rule like that you couldn't be on the board ever again. And so I would just like to rescind those minutes for August of 2018 that I just gave up I was just letting you know at that time so that you had time to find somebody to fill my position when my position would be up. And so that's why I was going to get on the agenda for next meeting. And I don't know if I have to have something written from my end or whatever.
Well, before I would rescind anything, I would definitely want to take a look at those minutes and see what exactly was written down in those minutes. Noreen, were you the secretary back then?
Yes, I was.
Do you recall anything from the minutes?
No, but they're all in.
Yeah, I have a flash drive with them on
Yes.
it, with the minutes on it from 2014 to 2018, I think it was.
It was the August 2018 and Larry read them the night that I nominated myself. Larry read the minutes from the 2018 meeting.
Yeah, I can definitely find them.
And then I was at the 2019 meeting, and I spoke about that when you take something out of the museum, you need to record it so that you know it's gone, so you know it's when it comes back. And that was the night when I left, the door kind of slammed, the wind grabbed it and slammed. So I don't know if everybody got the wrong impression when I left that night.
Oh, you were mad. You're mad
I
at me.
wasn't. Well, I wasn't. I don't get mad. I don't get angry, but it's just common courtesy. When you take something out of the museum, it has to be written down so that when it comes back, or if somebody's looking for it, you know, so that's just a rule of the museum.
I think I mean, Larry, I don't know if you have the minutes or not, but so you just want to rescind them so you have an opportunity to join.
Well, I
the
think, well,
board?
if I wanted to be on the board right now, I wouldn't be able to. I have to be on the agenda to speak or to put my 2 cents in or whatever. And so Larry told me I need to rescind. I have to have the minutes rescinded from that meeting in order to, so that it doesn't read that I resigned, because apparently in our organization, if you resign from the board, you can never hold a board position again. And that, you know, if I get on the board, then I can, I suppose, say that we shouldn't have that. We shouldn't have that as a board, that if you resign, you should be able to come back on the board. People resign for a lot of different for different meetings. You know, if you have a family problem, you resign from the board, and if 4 years later you don't have that family problem and you want to come back on, the board shouldn't say to you, well, you resigned, so you can't hold a board position ever again.
Well, I'll just say one thing. I appreciate your passion that you have for the museum, and I appreciate all that you do, Claudia. I think I'll just be transparent. I mean, you know, I do. I think you have a lot of passion there. Sometimes I think that passion is, it comes across in a way that hurts people's feelings, especially volunteer feelings. And that if we can't control our emotions in a meeting, I don't think that warrants you coming back onto the board. I'm just being honest. I think that there was several times that that you did leave, you know, and you slammed the door, and there was a few things.
I didn't mean to slam the door that night, Tammy.
I realize that what you're
caught
saying.
it when I left. I'm not here to discuss what happened at that meeting. I'm here to discuss, you know, if you don't want me to be involved anymore, I can turn in my key and be done. And maybe that's, and I plan on doing that, but I would like to clear my name before I'm done. And not only if I can rescind the minutes, then we can also talk about the minutes from the October meeting and the November meeting that need to be rescinded, and added things to that also.
That's fair enough. I mean, Larry, you're running this meeting, so I mean, I'm just putting my 2 cents out there.
You know, I guess it's very clear to me that nobody wants to work with me. So I know that I know that my time helping at the museum is close to being done. I was trying to get the garment bag sewed from 2 years ago when I ordered when I got the muslin material. And when I found that box and I realized that Maria had done nothing with them, I thought I can at least sew those things, or at least put a note out there asking if somebody knew anybody that could sew them, and I could show them the 2 different patterns that we have and get those started. Because if you're going to pack up some of the stuff, it'd be nice to have those garment bags, but nobody responded. So to me, that says, you know what, my time in Pulaski is done. That you don't want me on, nobody wants me on the board. So I realize that, but I would like to have things corrected before I'm done. That's all I'm asking at this point. That we could rescind the minutes and then make corrections and additions to the minutes for September and October.
I would just like to interject something. I give you folks a lot of credit for being so honest and truthful and bringing it out in the open. I think our historical society board would make excellent politicians because we'd straighten this country out. So I commend you for bringing this to our attention. And however you resolve this, fine, but I have the utmost respect for all of you. So God be with you.
Yep. And Claudia, I do have respect for you. And I love your passion. I really do. I just think that sometimes when people are on the board, they may feel a little threatened by how you come across sometimes. And it's not that we don't want you, because you do a lot of great things for us. And it's out on the floor that she's asking for this rescinding the minutes. And so we would take a look at the minutes and make corrections to how the minutes came out. I don't know the answer to that, but I think you're a great person. I don't always see eye to eye to you, but you know what? Not everybody has to see eye to eye. We all have our opinions. I guess I'd like to hear some other people's opinions on what's going on here. Like, Pam and Rock have known you for a while. Maybe we should kind of, go through are you guys open to rescinding the minutes?
Okay.
Yeah.
The subject is the rescinding the minutes.
Yeah.
If we don't want, if you guys don't want to deal with it, you don't have to. I mean, I just thought that would be a proper way. And then I could explain at least to people that the reason I'm not on the board is because I have to get on the agenda and I have to ask to have the minutes rescinded so that if a person resigns, that they can still come back on the board at some point. That's the main thing. There's no reason that you should refuse somebody to nominate themselves for the board because they resigned. And I didn't resign. So somewhere when I was told that I couldn't be on the board because I resigned, I don't know where that came from. And I don't want that to happen to anybody else. And I guess I look at this and I think the organization is the organization votes for the board members. And so the board member, so the membership at large has no idea what the board does at all. Not at all. They don't have a clue. And so they're asking me things and I'm going, I don't know. Well, Claudia, can you bring it up? No, I can't unless I get on the agenda. So it's those kind of things that I think there's a lot of people I've talked to that said, well, they kind of have lost interest in the museum because of the fact they have no clue what's going on. But that's neither here nor there. That's so. And I thought I would have been more prepared, but I was getting on the agenda for next meeting.
I think anybody can join us in the board meetings. So if they have any questions, it's on the calendar and anybody can join a board meeting.
Yeah, and I've explained to people now that I know how to get on that Zoom thing. Well, a lot of the older people, they don't have the capability to go on the Zoom meetings. So, but that's neither here nor there.
Chris, you know a lot about Robert's Rules of Orders and things like that. What Claudia is asking, the rescinding of the minutes, have you heard of that? Or do you know what we need to do? Do we need to put a vote on it or something?
I would think that, I'd like to, I guess we would need some time to review that rather than making a snap decision right now. But, I can see both sides of this issue. I mean, I don't, I've got the bylaws. I've looked them over, you know, from time to time when we have issues like this, I don't know of anything that says when somebody resigns, they can't get back on the board. So, I mean, I agree with that point that Claudia is making. You know, if she nominated herself or somebody nominates her, I mean, it's the annual meeting when you vote on the board of directors. I mean, that's just the way it should be. So, you know, I can see your point, but as far as rescinding minutes and changing history, so to speak, I guess I guess I don't feel that's right either. You know, you know, what happened at the meeting was recorded and it's there. I mean,
I just Googled
they
the,
approved the meeting after by you know, by the board. So I guess my point is I had to deal with this. I'd say leave the minutes stand as they are, and if somebody wants to nominate Claudia to run for the board and she gets the votes to do it, then she's on the board, you know. So
Yeah.
I guess that's my take on it.
Steve, you had something there?
well, I was listening, I just Googled rescind minutes. It is a thing in Robert's Rules of Order that you can change past minutes. It's called rescinding the minutes, but as to the merits, that has nothing to do with the merits, only that according to Robert's Rules of Orders, that is something that can be done. I just brought up my copy of the minutes and it says, Larry informed the board that Claudia told him she wanted to resign. That's all it says about the resignation. So it
But
was,
I don't think there's anything in our minutes that says a person resigns that they can't run again.
I agree.
I just don't think that's in there.
Well, and I didn't think so either, but then at the meeting that night, when I nominated myself, Larry had said, he had read that part that I resigned and said that I couldn't nominate myself because I had resigned. Once you resign from the board, you can't run again. So when I talked to Larry the next day, or 2 days later, he had said that I would have to get on the agenda and come to a meeting and ask to have the minutes rescinded so that I didn't resign, that I gave up my position on the board. So that's why I was going to get on the agenda for next time. So
Who's our
I guess-
bylaws committee?
I'm on it.
well, and there's nothing in the bylaws about it. I mean,
I don't think there is. You know?
there's nothing in the bylaws about it. And most organizations, if you resign, you're resigning and you can get elected back on. You can get elected back on by your membership. And so I don't understand, but I think maybe we have to be a little more, well, of course, it doesn't matter to me if in the future, but I think, and I can't change anything if I'm not on the board, but I think you need to have a line in there that says if you resign, you can no longer be on the board forever, which I think is wrong. You know, you've got people that get off of a board and they take 3-4 years off and then they come back on when they have more time. So I think you have to make sure that it doesn't happen to somebody else.
I will disagree with you, Claudia, on the fact that the meetings aren't open or the membership doesn't know what's going on, because I mean, I don't know how much more transparent we can be with these Zoom meetings, or even when we had in-person meetings, we always invited the membership. Anybody could come.
Mhm. I know,
Just
but I
hard to
look
get
at
people to come out to
some
the
of I'm looking at some of our older members that I talk to on a regular basis, and you know, so they'll call me like tomorrow, or they'll call me the end of the week and say, oh, what was discussed at the meeting, you know, and I'll let them know and you know, kind of let them know what's going on. But they feel like they're very disconnected. There's, you know, like maybe they could put something in the, you know, maybe they could put something in the newspaper, Claudia. Maybe you could. And I'm thinking, well, I can't put anything in the newspaper. You know, they just don't know how to use. They don't know how to use the computer. Some of them don't have a computer. And the only thing they've got.
We have a newsletter that goes out.
Yeah,
every 6
well, in the
months.
newsletter, the newsletter came out, well, it came out after the meeting, but there's just not enough news in the newsletters. You know, they like the stories, but tell us what's happening. Tell us what's going on at the museum. That's the kind of stuff that they're asking me.
So
I'm gonna
Larry,
have to excuse myself. I have to take care of my little grandson's here and he needs to go to bed, so
Okay.
I'll talk to you later.
Hi.
so Larry or Claudia, I've always, you can certainly let them know that they are welcome to get a hold of
I
me.
do. I do.
And they are welcome to come to Dynamic Design.
Okay.
I have Steve here, I've had other people, and I've hosted people. So make sure that if you're talking to some individuals, I've never had anyone call me or reach out and say that they had any issues. So, we're just hearing it from you, but if you would let them know, the people that you talk to, that they're more than welcome to come here. More than welcome. And we have a separate room that they could go into. I would be more than happy to host them.
Well, I told them I could come over with the iPad, with my iPad, and we could sit and listen to the meetings.
It's
So,
a
I mean, I've offered them the
changing
same
world
thing.
that we have.
Yeah.
And, you talk about older people, but Larry, how old are you?
I'll be 81 tomorrow.
Thank you.
Okay. Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
Thank
I mean, that's pretty good that we have, we have a lot of older people on here. And I think if they really wanted to join us, they certainly could do it. And I don't think anything is hampering them. I think there's a lot of people that would certainly welcome them and help them out. And I'm one of them.
And I do know that a lot of the elderly, they all have phones, and a lot of them know who's all on our board because they know us. And like when the seniors or the activity center was active and Rock and I were there for different things, they knew we were working with the museum, and nobody's ever questioned, but they could call in one of us.
Sure.
We could send them
Sure.
a copy of the minutes, can't we?
Okay.
If they wanted one,
Sure.
can you legally do that?
Sure.
The minutes are,
Yeah.
aren't
No,
very-
if some elderly lady, like when I'm delivering meals, says, I would like a copy of the minutes of the meeting, I could give her one, couldn't I?
I mean, we post them on our website for
Yeah,
anybody
but
to
see, they
see,
don't have
so.
the computers, and I understand that.
No, I'm saying, but we put them on our website for everybody to see, so I would think you could print it out,
Yeah,
It's
well,
basically
that's
the
true,
same
that's
thing,
the
just a
point.
different format.
But we could do that. And maybe you should put an article in the newsletter then how, some of the elderly don't have computers or access, and give them a few phone numbers to call.
Sure, that would be a great article. I'll do that.
No, it doesn't have to be a whole article, but
No, just a little snippet or
Well,
whatever.
Mhm.
Right. And our name and number is on the front door of the museum. If they want to come in at any time, all they got to do is call us and we're there.
Yeah, and I'm not hiding under a bush either.
Yep.
Well, can we give Claudia an answer to her or a solution of some sort in regards to her request or?
Tell you what
this
we'll
on
do,
the-
we'll put her on the agenda for next month, and by that time we'll have resolved it.
Okay,
We'll get a chance to look at the minutes and.
I'm good with that. I think I'm sticking with what Chris said too, but I'll look at the bylaws to see if there's anything, but Claudia should be able to run again, even though she,
I won't be running.
Nine.
I won't be running again. Because I know how I stand. So I just would like to, make sure that it doesn't happen to anybody else. And maybe after these next couple of meetings, we'll have it all taken care of. My name will be cleared and I'll be done. Because I don't really think anybody cares if I even come to the museum, or help or anything at this point. I think I just say, I guess I'm done helping at the museum.
Okay, we'll leave it at that. Our next meeting will be May 24th via Zoom. I need a motion to adjourn.
I so move.
Motion by Chris.
I'll
need a
second it.
By Tammy. Who seconded it?
I did,
Oh,
Tammy.
Tammy.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carried. Good night.
Good night.
Well,
Great,
Right.
guys.
Bye-bye.